Alright, gonna do a general guide on how to play Sova today. And so it's pretty much just gonna be like general tips and tricks, how to approach attack as Sova, how to approach defense as Sova, how to maximize the use of all your abilities and your ult, and just overall trying to open up your mind and open up ideas on how like you should approach Sova and try implement that into your own playstyle. Because I do see a lot of people focused on the wrong thing when they're playing Sova, so hopefully this video can give you some more ideas. And if this video pops off, then maybe I will do like a server guide for every single map, so we'll see then. Alright, so let's just go into playing server on attack, just in a slow round to begin with. So let's say you're playing the rounds pretty slow. Your role is server, right? And as most initiators is just to get like info for your team. If you're not making like an aggro play with your duelist with your info, you're just getting info to just understand the enemy's position on like their general position on defense, right? And once you get to a certain level and once you play the game enough, if you know where one or two of the enemies are, you'll get a very good like understanding or like attempt at guessing where the rest of the enemy team is based off the info of the one or two people that you find out. So let's say at the start you on a scent here, just for an example, you want to come and get info A main. And this one dart can tell you a lot of things, right? If someone is close and break that dart close, that tells you one thing. If they break it from heaven, you hear the bullet shot from heaven, that tells you another thing. If they don't break it at all, that tells you another thing as well. Right, so just that one piece of util can tell you a lot of things. If they break the dart from close, you know they're going to be playing close. If they break the dart from heaven, you know they're probably retake. If they don't break the dart at all, you know A main is fully clear, and there's probably either like one person maybe hiding on site, or I doubt they'll be hiding, but they'll probably be playing double tree or like heavy short because A main is clear, right? So just stuff like that, and if you know A main is clear, then you know they're gravitating towards mid and B. So instantly, that's just info for you, and you can have a guess of where the rest of the team is on defense. Okay, so that's just getting info for potential setup. Okay, second point on like kind of slow rounds on attack as Sova is using your utility to break the enemy sentinel utility. This is pretty self-explanatory, but let's say the biggest example here probably would be
right here.
the sentinel utility here, whether that be a lumber or shockwire or whatever. So let's just say coming up, shock darting that. That is one pathway of doing that, and the second way of doing that is using like other utility to get your teammates up to then go break the sentinel utility. So just opening up your mind here and giving you different ideas. There's two different ways, has two different outcomes, right? One's inherently riskier because you're using people to come up to go break the utility, and the other is no risk at all because you're just using a lineup to break that utility. This first option of just using a lineup to break the utility, yeah, there's no kill potential, but first of all, you don't know if you actually break the utility, right? Unless someone spots it being broken. And secondly, there's no kill potential. You're not advancing when in your default, you're not advancing up and getting information. You're not advancing up to get potential kills. You're only doing it because it's no risk and there's a potential of breaking the alarm bot. But the second option of using your other pieces of utility to help your teammates get up to break that piece of sentinel utility not only grants potential kill potential, but you know 100% that they're gonna break the sentinel utility as well. But the trade-away is that that's just infinitely riskier because you're using people to go up instead of just using a shock dart, right? So just opening up your minds at different variations that you can approach breaking utility like that. And that same goes, that's just an example for mid, same goes for B. Let's say you want to break Killjoy setup B. and you're in a default. Let's say Killjoy
Right
puts
here.
turret here, alarm
Right
bot, molly's there. Let's say you want to come up, shock dart, all this stuff from here,
Shock dart.
and then drone up. See
Right
there's a
here.
turret here. Maybe you can even smoke the turret off and your teammate walks up, because there's so many things you can do. If you have someone with you and you're using utility and bodies to go break the sentinel utility instead of just using your shock darts. So just opening up ideas for you there. Third thing, I'll be talking about using drone to reclear forfeited areas of the map or you can use the drone for executes. So let's just say that how this whole round has panned out, right? Let's say you darted A main
Right here.
and no one broke it, and you went and
Right here.
either shocked out of that, or you helped your teammates get up and spotted there are people heavy mid. Then you have drone.
Take flight.
You can come up drone and spot Killjoy like Molly or whatever here, and then you'll have a good understanding of, like, just by your utility alone, where pretty much everyone is gonna be on the map. You know no one broke the start at A main, so you know this whole area is like 90% clear, like good 90% chance that it's gonna be clear. You know it's probably one or two short. Killjoy sit up here, so they're probably playing retake with Killjoy Molly's there. Killjoy's Molly there, they're probably playing people short, and they're playing heavy mid, and then the rest of the people are at B. So you instantly know that A is exploitable, and you probably want to hit A here, just because of that. So just off your info alone, just off a dart and a drone, you instantly know kind of like what to lean towards, right, in the round. And just adding on that, if you already know stuff like that, and you still have the drone, you can just save your drone for like executes. Let's say you just want to come out A main, just drone out A main, and execute. Okay, so just gonna talk about like after you get onto the site now, because I talked about like how to approach like a slow round before you get on the site, just getting info around the map. Let's say after you get onto the site and you get the bomb down, you don't always want to be that guy just sitting back A main. And I learned this like the hard way, I'm not gonna lie, like just through a lot of trial and error of just knowing what's the best place for servers to be. Let's say you just don't want to be like a lineup fucking server, right? You don't, unless your team has like a lot of ults. Let's say you have like, I don't know, a lot of post-plant utility on here and a lot of delay and a late lurk and everything. Then maybe you can stay back, play your shock darts and your server ult. But if you don't have much control, you don't have much utility, you don't have anything, you really want to be helping your team just trade out on site, right? Because that, in most of the cases, that's just better than just letting your whole team die and then they smoke off A main and then you're here playing like a 1v4. It's like the odds are just like so much lower. So just like think about, like, you don't always automatically like go back into A main and be like, okay, I'm gonna be that last line of fucking defense or some shit and fucking go shock dart and clutch. It's like, it's pretty low probability. So yeah, if you don't have shocks at all, it's like 100% just go on site, go help your team. But if you like very adamant on playing in A main and stuff like that, this is just an example for a site on ascent, but in general, like playing back mains after you get the bomb down, just doing like pop recons once your enemies are like retaking, for example. Like if they're walking out short, whenever people retake here, they're always like smoke here, right? So just like doing recons out the smoke, and I don't remember the lineup for this, to be honest, but
Standing ahead.
okay, I missed it, but it's supposed to like land here. This one's a really good one that I've been like exploiting for ages, and it always, no one ever breaks it. It always gets a scan off, because it's pretty hard to react to that, to be honest. Like, that comes pretty quickly, and I'll talk about like optimizing your darts later on, but just like good pop darts that will 100% always get one scan off is really good when people are retaking, because when people are retaking, they're going to be like focused on their utility, focused on clearing all these angles by themselves and stuff like that. So just utilizing that at least is like very good if you're adamant on playing back in man. Okay, so I did talk about like slow rounds on attack, or fast rounds pretty self-explanatory. Like your dart for your duelist to get in. In most cases, you want another teammate to clear like close mains and stuff. You don't want to waste your utility for that, and you want to be darting for your duelist. So, just using Jay as an example, if they smoke and come out, dash into the smoke, you want the dart to be like popping just before they go into the smoke, so they can like capitalize off shooting people while they're in the smoke and the dart's scanning them. Or if the dart isn't scanning them, you want people to be breaking it while the jet is dashing in. So the dart is kind of like a bait for the jet. So the enemy isn't all focusing on the jet, right? And the jet will know where the enemy is based off people breaking the dart, etc. So you want your teammate to clear the front lines, and then you want a dart for your duelist to go out. And let's say the enemies has dropped like a bunch of smokes, a bunch of mollies here, and the rest of your team can't go out. And your jet is just hiding in her smoke, like somewhere here. This is where your drone comes in. And you want to ping stuff for the jet, right? You can ping people. Or if the molly is subsided, and there's a smoke there, and your teammate's kind of like sus of going out, you just want to use your drone there. So that's like the most optimal rotation of your utility in a rush. Talk about defense now. The main idea, right? Just like this is like the game in general with anyone, is like you get info and get the likelihood of where the enemy is gonna be on defense, and just go stack the site where you think they're gonna be. That's literally it. That's most of defense, like 99% of defense. So, few tips on defense, right? You really want to mix up your utility timing and variance. Start round to get info. You don't want to be that guy darting back fucking B main every single round, because there's gonna be like someone break it and they might just run away, or there's gonna be lots of people and they might hide from the dart if they know you do it every round. You have to be like very sporadic, like with how you use your utility. You don't want to be like too readable with your darting, your droning at the start of round, etc. And this is a very good tip, by the way. If you play Sova, you have to listen to this. If an enemy team likes to rush a lot, there's just simply no point in using utility at the start, because they're giving away the info that they're there. What is the point of your dart, right? To get the info. If they're giving away the info that they're rushing, there's just simply no point in you darting. For example, like they like to rush B. Like there's no point in you darting B main at the start. Like if they're super shit and like 5 people can't break the one dart, then maybe you can get Odin spam, but there's just like 10 times better like saving the dart for when they like actually come out, right? They come out, they have to come out and fucking aim up, and you know how AIDS that is for like people that's not the jet, like the people that are coming out second and third, they fucking die. Like they always get fucked. And like I don't know, this one in market as well. Like this one does not get fucking shot at all. No one's looking up there. You can't even see up there because you're gonna be aiming here, right? You literally can't see up there. So like darting for when they're coming out is like 20 times better than darting to get info if you know that they're already there. So you have to keep in mind, just drill that into your head. The dart is used to get info. If they're giving away the info that they're gonna be somewhere, there's no point in you darting. You're wasting your dart. Same thing with drone. Okay, another huge ass mistake, right? The first one was like darting irrelevant ass areas if you know they're gonna be there. And the second one has got to be like using your util to reclear areas of the map when like the enemy has literally just fucking pressured there. For example, like attackers, they when they control A main, right? They like to clear fucking all this shit, and they like to clear the close bit, right? When they come pressure A. And if they go quiet, I see fucking motherfuckers just like instantly like they dart it again. Like 5 seconds later they just dart it, and then it just gets shot. And then they're like, oh wait, they're still A main. Yeah, well like no shit, they're still A main. They're literally there like 5 seconds ago. So why would they not be there for another 5 seconds, right? So you gotta be thinking of like the internal timing of if they come like fight A, take A, and they go quiet. What's the timing? And like if they go quiet after taking A, there's 2 things they can be doing. They're just going quiet, and waiting for the next round of utility and just going again, or they're making space for the lurk or whatever, or they could be doing the pressure and just leaving. Maybe they have a drop off or something. And you have to understand the timing of them leaving. Let's say they do the pressure and they don't want to give away that they're leaving, right? So they're gonna be like shift walking away, or they're gonna be holding for like at least another 5. They're not gonna all just teleport away. So you cannot instantly reclear stuff. You have to give it like 10, 15 seconds, like minimum, right? You just keep that internal timing of their rotating time, of them like shift walking away or coming back. Like they do the pressure short and then they have to come back. You have to understand the timing, and then you drone it out. Then you come clear, fucking short, come teammate picks long with a dart, whatever. Then you know that everything's clear. Then you can go stack the other sides. And that is not a waste of utility, but if you just do it like 2 seconds after they're there and they go quiet, which I see a lot of people do every single day, every single rank game. That is just not it. And you're wasting your dart and your utility. Third thing is a pretty like niche thing that I don't see many people do other than IGL, but I thought I'd put it in here on defense, is like keeping internal timings of when the enemy Sova has darted or when the enemy KO has knifed, just your counterpart. For example, if he's darted A main at 1 minute 40,
Right here.
he's gonna have his dart again. Fuck, I don't know what the dart cooldown is. I think it's 40 seconds, 45 or whatever. He's gonna have the dart cooldown again at like around, fuck, was it a minute, 50, a minute or 50 seconds. So if you keep that in mind, right, I'm just opening up ideas for you and how to like approach server on defense. They're most likely to hit again if they're not doing a fake and then instantly hitting somewhere. They're most likely to hit again on their next start, right? And you might think oh, that's no shit, they're gonna do that. But if you think about it, if they're gonna be regrouping on their next start, so around a minute or 50 seconds or maybe a minute 10, that would be a good time to go reclear stuff, right? If you think about it like that. If they do the die at 1 minute 40 and they want to hit somewhere at 50 seconds, that 1 minute 10 to like 1 minute section is like a good time to like get info, right? You know what I mean? Like they're either there. If they're there, then that means they're all ready to hit it off the next start. If they're not there, go stack B or C because they're gonna be going B or C. Just stuff like that. Just implementing small stuff like that. You get an extra man on the rotate just because of that info, and you get 3 people on the site. Now they're heading into 3 people. So just like super important, or like I don't see many people do that, but I think it's super important, and that could help you like win a lot of rounds, to be honest. And I didn't mention before, but like darting when they're coming out chokes, super good. Shock darting the plant, super good as well. But you don't want to be that guy just fucking doing some fucking one that like you can hear from a mile away. They can literally hear it coming down like on them and they're just gonna run away. Like there's no point in doing that. Like you want to do like fast ones that just pop in them instantly. Like they have no chance to react. Don't be like a lineup dog that just does like double shockies and like it's not gonna kill anyone in 2023. It's not gonna do anything. So like I don't know how to do that lineup, but like the dart that lands there, this little pop, teammates can go kill them when they're coming out. The enemy coming out the choke, go do like little support shock darts.
Shock dart.
Just like run out, come swing, come help your team. Don't be like a lineup fucking Larry or whatever. Okay, so now I just talked about attack and defense, right? And just how to play like a normal rounds on attack and defense. Now I'll talk about all the utility and how to like properly use all of them. And I'll just start with the drone because it's the first one. This map reminds me of how like I learned 2 different ways of droning when I thought about it, right? Is you either drone high or you drone low, right? And droning in the middle, I don't know much about that, but I never really do that. You just drone high if you want a lot of info, right? Because you see more, but it's more susceptible to being shot, and it's like no shit. But running low is where you don't want it to die. and you want like, you kind of want someone like following with it. That's when you like kind of drone low. So just Icebox is such a good example because there's like so many angles when you're droning high, but there's so much cover when you're droning low that when you drone high, it's very susceptible of dying. When you're droning low, it's very susceptible of living. So that's the two ways to drone and how to approach just any area of the map by droning. And just think about which way of droning is better for you given the situation. Just opening your mind thinking about that. And I'll talk about like shock dart and a bit of recon as well. In my opinion, like lineups for Sova isn't like the most necessary thing. I think having like 1 to 2 lineups for like the common like Sova darts is like really good. For example, if you want to come up Icebox here and approach A main, like Sova's usually dart here, right? And maybe having like another dart that lands here is like really good. I think it's like this or something. Okay, I did an extra bounce, but like you know what I mean. And that's for me, and I like main Sova. That's the only 2 darts I know on A. Like you don't need to complicate it. And sometimes if you want to mix it up heavily, you can just do one off the back wall as well. It's not that like it's not necessary, to be honest. Like having like lots of insane darts, unless you're like literally playing VCT and you doing like some crazy like fake with a dart. 99.99% of the time you don't need like any lineups, and maybe 1 shock dart lineup for like the most default and most common plant is pretty good as well. But you don't want to be putting all your time into like min-maxing your server utility if you don't understand like how to play the game fully. In my opinion, it's much more helpful and more advantageous for you and your team for you to like learn how to play the agent properly, learn how to understand the game properly than doing lineups. So just yeah. Okay, so good dart, right, is one that will pop like fast, and it'll pop so abruptly that the enemies can't react on time to shoot the first scan. That's a good dart. And you don't ever want to be doing, well, not like ever want to be doing, but you don't ever want to try to stray away from doing darts that like you just shoot it right at them and they just see it flying across their fucking face and then they just shoot it, like it just does nothing. So like good darts, for example, them coming up and then you're behind the smoke and you're just chucking one on the ground like right outside of the smoke, or doing one like super high so they have to like come. It's like a nuisance for them to break the dart. Those kind of darts are like the best darts. And of course instantly, I mean, it will be infinitely better if you're pairing it with like a flash or something, and you're making it abrupt and you're making it hard to break. 100% get scans off. Just using creative ways of like thinking of like which part of the map you should dart to get quick scans and abrupt scans that the enemies can't react to. It's like part of playing Sova well, right? You pretty much really ever want to be doing just shit like that, and because they'll just see it and then they'll just break it. It's like just waste of dart, no reason. So just being creative with where you dart, just thinking about how to dart is really important in maxing Sova darts. Okay, one more tip for shock darts and darts is like using them to swing off is like pretty underrated, and I don't see many people doing this. I saw Crashies do it once. Is like if you know someone is somewhere, like using your shock dart or your dart to like distort their vision is like it's like pretty underrated in my opinion. Like I'm pretty sure the scenario was like someone was there and then he was there and he did this and then it popped in this cunt's face and then he couldn't see anything and he swung him. Like it's pretty like stuff like that. You just gotta be a creative with that, to be honest. Or like doing like little double bounce and then you see if he shoots or not. If he shoots it, then you swing him and then he has to flick up. It just makes shit a lot harder for him compared to if you know he's there and you're like, okay, I'm gonna swing him, and then you just take the 50-50. It's like you can think about utility and stuff like that as well. But you don't. I can't stress this enough. You don't want to be caught with your util in your fucking hand 24/7. As Sova, that's the one biggest mistake I see every fucking Sova do, and I used to make that mistake like so much. You just gotta have that mindset of like, do I trust my aim of one-shotting him, or do I trust my shock dart of doing 70 damage and not killing him? Like, you just gotta think of it that way. Like, you gotta want to kill him. You don't want to like pepper him and then die. Like, is that all you're worth for? Like a shock dart? Like, you need to use your gun like 99% of the time. Like, yeah, you can get creative with stuff like this, but if there's a chance of him, like, if there's a chance of someone peeking here, it's like, then this is like, it's not worth it. But if it's like a 1v1, maybe you can do some stuff like that. So you just gotta think with your utility, but you don't want to like think about it 24/7 in every scenario. You still want to play the game normally like everyone else. So don't stress too much on utility if that's who you are and you think you get caught with util in your hand too much. So yeah.
So?
Okay, so when you guys ult, right? A guide on how to ult is you kind of want to be like dragging your crosshair instead of doing it like stationary. I see a lot of people ult like this, even the high rank, and that's not a good way to do it. And you can try to dodge my ult now.
Standing ahead. I am the hunter. There they are. My ult is ready.
Okay. Well, I still killed you, bro. I don't know how, but you want to be like dragging it and to match with their movement, right? And if you don't drag it, it will be super easy to see where the ult is coming from, right? So, for example, you want to just ult me? I'm gonna be behind this wall in you hole, and just don't drag your ult. Just do it like how like.
Yeah.
See how easy that is to dodge, but just I don't know. I'll be backside. You can dart me and then just try to drag your ult and kill me.
Okay.
Nowhere to run.
So it's like a lot harder now because you're kind of like your movement is getting tracked. So that's like the #1 thing that I see a lot of people they don't do is like simply trying to predict the enemy movement and dragging it. And more things with the ult, I would suggest try like avoid blind ulting without any sort of info or dart. For example, like I don't know, instantly off relink, just gonna hit a fucking ult. It's like might be someone there, might not be, and it's like it's kind of a waste. I think there's much more things you can do with the ult. So try avoid blind ulting unless you have some god read that will like win you the game. In my opinion, drone ults aren't the best, but they're not the worst either. In my opinion, because the good thing with the ult is like you want it so they don't see it like coming, right? That's like the good part. That's how you get like the first hit off, and once you get the first hit off, the second hit is like pure skill. After that is like pure skill and like reading where the enemy's gonna be by like dragging your ult. So, but if you drone and they know you have Sova ult, they'll instantly be in that like state of movement to know that you're gonna ult. That's why I think drone ults are like kind of mid, but they're still alright. So once they get tagged, they'll instantly be like moving one way and start like stutter stepping and shit. But let's say you ult off info, for example, instead of drone ulting. Your teammate like, okay, they're coming up short, and you just instantly pop the ult into like 3 people running up short, and they'll just be walking in a straight line, completely oblivious, and then the ult comes out of nowhere, and they gotta like react, and they gotta like do like all this other stuff as well, such as like being wary of all the other angles. Maybe some of them have util out, etc. Like it just the good part about Sova Ult is getting that first hit off and just being unpredictable with that ult. And then the second shot, the one that will kill them, is like 50% skill, 50% luck. After that, you just gotta predict where they're moving. And good players, like, they dodge the ult really well by just fucking standing still, and then it's like a 50-50 whether they move left or right after that. But most players, they either move in one direction, very easy to track, or they try fake it, and that's pretty easy to track as well. So yeah, ulting off info based off your teammates, like fighting or your teammates spotting stuff, very good. Doing like a dart that pops quickly
Revealing area.
and it's hard to hit, and then ulting,
The hunter!
good as
My
well.
ult is ready.
So those are the two best ways, I think, of using the ult. You don't want to be that guy that saves his ult and just ults the bomb planter guy every time, or when you're on attack, you're post plant, you're ulting the guy defusing every time. You don't want to be that guy. You just don't want to, just like with everything in this game, you just want to like be unpredictable. Just variability in how you use all your util, how you use your ult as well, how you move, how you shoot, just everything. Like, you just got to be unpredictable. And also, one last thing with the ult, certain areas of the map, of course, it's going to be better than the other areas of the map when you're ulting. For example, a short,
Spikes here.
small ass choke, hard to dodge, right, and easy to ult. They can only be in a certain amount of places, and they can only move because they're blocked by the walls. But you don't want to be like darting fucking belong
Scanning
and
ahead.
like ulting people out here is like
My ult is ready.
infinitely harder, right? And you just don't want to do that to yourself. Ulting hookah is easy as well from short. Just ulting off angles as well, because you want, like, with a server ult, like I said before, you want the first hit to go off. Once you get the first hit off, then it's like where you decide whether to kill the person or not, and depending on how they move, you can kill the person. But like, for example, if someone's here and the ult comes from U-hole,
Right
if
here.
you ult from U-hole, let's say your teammate is
Right here.
back B, they spotted someone here, and you ult from U-hole. This guy is like kind of doing his own stuff, and then suddenly ult comes from his right, and then it's like gonna be like he's gonna be thinking about how to dodge it and stuff. So getting that first hit off is like the most important part, and just being unpredictable from different angles as well is good for your server ult. Okay, and what else do I have to go through? Like, usually you want to be with a team as server, but if you use your drone and your dart and your shock darts, etc., and you just a fucking walking man with a gun, like, lurking is actually like hella underrated because they won't expect it, right? If they see, for example, you take the lurk role from your sentinel, be like, I've used everything, I'll lurk now, and then your fucking cypher's going with a team to hit a site, and then the enemy sees a cypher with a site, they'll be like, they'll probably be less open to the idea that there's gonna be a lurk, right? Because it'll be like, oh, where their sentinel is there, their smokes is there, who else can lurk? No one, right? But then you're lurking a server, like, it's pretty underrated, to be honest. So just keeping that option open as well, if you use all your utility, is pretty good. And I don't know if I need to explain it, but I guess I will. That is pretty good because they know the cipher and your smokes player is with a team, so they will rotate pretty quickly, almost instantly. If you think about it, they'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna rotate now, no lurk, and that opens up like faster windows for flanks, for you. Compared to if your cipher's lurking, they'll probably be more wary and they might stay behind another 5 to 10 seconds. So it's pretty good and it'll catch them off guard. But yeah, that's pretty much it for general server guide. I think I went through a good like chunk of what server's supposed to do, but maybe I missed something out. So if there's something you want to know about server, just comment that in the comment section as well, and I'll cut to the giveaway for the coaching session from the people that commented in my last video. So just cut the thing. Okay, so wait, what the fuck just happened? Okay, so here's the giveaway. 8 people. Alright, schmoopy. I will try DM you on YouTube. I think I can do that. But if I can't, just comment again your like contact details and I can message you.